Hello everyone, welcome to Stampin' Up with Jamie. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Time got away from me earlier, so I just have to adhere my grid paper down here. I completely lost track of time working, and then I was like, oh my goodness, I gotta go. So let me just get comments up here and rolling so I can follow along. And I don't know if you noticed, I posted it, like maybe 20 minutes ago or so, that I'm going to do a drawing. Believe it or not, this card uses a ton of stamps. As I was mounting them, I was like, oh my gosh, this card uses a lot of stamps. So I'm going to do a giveaway. So if you haven't done so already, either here or preferably under my other card post, but you could also do it here. That wouldn't be the end of the world. Just take a guess as to how many different stamp sets you think my card uses here. And of everyone, yay, Renice, you're live. Of everyone that guesses the correct number, goodness, can't read and talk at the same time. Whoever guesses the correct number, because it could be a bunch of you, I'm going to throw all your names in a hat, and then someone will be a lucky winner tonight. And I have something to give. I'm not going to say what it is, but I think you'll like it. I think it's worth a guess. So here's the card. I put out earlier also, I wasn't sure which one to do because I did two versions of the card. I did kind of an everyday one, and then I also did a Christmas version. Very similar, identical layout, only like two minor differences. But this one I thought would be nice. It could be a masculine card. I think, like you said, Karen, it could be a masculine card. Hi, Heather. Hey, Chris. Thanks, everyone, for joining me. It could just be a birthday card. I made it a thinking of you card. So very versatile. But here is the holiday version one. Again, they use pretty much the same exact layout. The only thing that I did differently, what the number was for. Oh, I haven't said, Heather. I'm leaving it a surprise. I like surprises. I love like present surprises. So, it's something that you will enjoy. It's for product, but I'm not saying what the product is. So not necessarily stamp sets, Christina, but how many stamps? Like how many different images am I using? Basically, how many images do I have blocked up? Do I have on blocks and ready to go? I took a picture of it earlier because they're all kind of like lined up over here so that I could show you so that everyone would know I was being honest and not being dishonest. Anyways, so let me show you what I'm working with tonight. Again, we're going to make this one, but I want to show you them both because I think this bundle, this stamp set is super, super versatile and really has a lot of potential, a lot that can be done with it. So, okay, so wrong one. Oh, did I not get it out? No, I did. It's hiding. Well, I am using the Merry Moose, but this is the one I wanted to show you. It is the In the Pines bundle. It is in the mini catalog right now. It is available either as a stamp set or as a bundle. Remember, when you buy the bundle, you get that 10% off. So definitely worth getting the dies that are coordinating. I highly recommend if you're looking at a stamp set and it comes in a bundle, always get the bundle. So In the Pines, I love it. I think it's super versatile because you can use it just like as a regular card, or you can go ahead and make a Christmas card with it. And it has a sentiment for both. So we have our holiday greetings, season's greetings, and then we have just a straight thinking of you card. And honestly, other than that, this could potentially be a Christmas tree, there's really nothing super Christmassy about this. So, you know, I think you can really do a lot with this. I love that you can do a masculine card because they tend to be a little challenging. And the stamp set is two-step stamping, but as I'm going to show you, the filler, so to speak, doesn't exactly fill. Like, it's not perfect placement. It's kind of like a little bit outside the lines a little bit. So it's not stressful two-step stamping. It's like really anyone can do this. Such suspense, Renice, you're funny. I like surprises. Do you guys not like surprises? Okay, true story. I'm going to totally like do a detour on my live. This is hysterical. But as a kid, my mom would always keep a notebook and she left it next to the phone. And in the back, she always wrote down all of my Christmas presents. And I knew it. She did this every year as a kid. I knew they were there, but I never once looked. I would send my best friend at the time and I would say, go look in the back of the book and tell me if I'm going to be happy or not. Because I love surprises. I never wanted to ruin the surprise. I just wanted to know if I was going to be disappointed. Okay, back to While You're Really Here. So in the Pines, this is the stamp set. Of course, it is a bundle and it has matching dies. They are the Pine Woods dies and they look like this. So a couple of outline dies and a couple of standalone dies. Oh, did I get rid of that tree? Oh, what did I do with that? I cleaned my desk today and I had a tree that I was going to show you and I don't know what I did with it. I don't see it anywhere. Okay, so these guys here will cut out the outline of these trees, right? They coordinate, they're the size. These two are kind of two standalone dies. I don't know what in the world I did with those trees. See, that's why I can't clean my desk, because the second I clean my desk, I can't find anything. That's so funny. I have no clue what I did with those. Anyways, these cut out like individual trees. So just kind of like a tree outline. And then this one here is super fun. It cuts out like this negative. So you could either just straight up cut it out of the negative, or if you also wanted the tree, this then cuts out the outline. Okay, so lots to do here. And I love how we have two kind of scenic, if you want like a little slope or a super bumpy slope, lots of options for your trees to be kind of perched up on. So I am specifically showing you these two cards because they both use designer series paper that will be included in the designer series paper that starts tomorrow. It is for the month of October, 15% off select designer series paper from both the holiday, the mini catalog and the annual catalog. So you can get your holiday paper, but just, you know, your regular paper as well. So be sure to check those out. If your order in October is over $50 and it includes at least one pack of designer series paper, I am throwing in a free pack of cardstock, a solid color. You pick and I'll get it to you. Make sure you use my host code at checkout. So month of October, any order over 50, as long as you buy one designer series paper in your order, I'm going to throw in a pack of cardstock, and that's in addition to the free $9 item. So that's a free $9 item and a pack of cardstock. So super great deal. Great deal on the designer series paper. Great deal when you shop with me. So that's my little plug. Now we're going to make this one here. So let's dive in. My cards base is crumb cake cardstock. It is 8.5 by 5.5. Scored at 4 1/4. I remembered my bone folder. Who is so excited that I remembered my bone folder? I never remember my bone folder. Okay, so then I took a pattern. This is just like a regular wood grain, but it's actually included in the poinsettia place. Oh, goodness. This is what happens when I run off my memory. I just don't write things down, and it's... Hold on. I just want to make sure I have the right wording. Poinsettia Place designer series paper. It's beautiful. Like these, this is the opposite side, but it's got very like neutral colors. I love this wood green on the back. So this measures 4 1/4 by 5.5. It is covering the entire front of my card. Yeah, keep those guesses coming, guys. Until I start stamping, even, you know, once I start stamping, whoever guesses the exact amount of stamps that I used in my card tonight, so not stamp sets, but like individual stamps, if you guess the number correctly, maybe you're the only one, but if there's multiples, I'm going to throw your name in a hat and then pick a name for someone to receive a prize. The prize is something of product. I'm just not saying what it is quite yet. Okay. I like a surprise. So So take a look at my card, think how many stamps I used. Make a guess either in the comments below here or on that separate post that I did. And then when I'm done, I'll pull all your names that guessed correctly and I'll throw them in a hat. Please only guess once. If you guess multiple times, that doesn't count. Okay, so let's set that aside. Next, you're gonna need a panel of Whisper White cardstock. Let me get you the dimensions. I always forget. 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. And the first set of stamps that we're going to use, and let me tell you, I have a bunch over here. We're going to use this one here, and this is like a standalone tree. And then eventually we'll use the coordinating, I'm going to call it, I don't know what to call that, filler tree, the solid tree, this is the outline, whatever that one is. You'll have to let me know what's the term for that? The one that has the fill in it. I don't know what it's called, except to say the filler tree, but I know that's not right. Okay, so if you're interested in making the Christmas card here, just so you know, my colors are Cherry Cobbler and Shaded Spruce. Okay, just so you know, I'm not really going to give those details, but in case you were curious as to what the colors I used and whatnot, Cherry Cobbler, Shaded Spruce, and then my mousse is done the same, so you'll see that. But for all my purpose of tonight, these are my colors. So Mossy Meadow is my green. I wanted like just a little pop of brighter color. You call it the filler image. Yeah, I don't know what else to call it. Okay, the filler image. I wanted a little brightness, so I added the Pool Party, and then the Soft Suede and Crumb Cake are for my mousse. So, Mossy Meadow for my trees. Ugh. You know what I'm going to do first, though? Hold on. I did this opposite, and I think it would be really a lot easier just to stamp my sentiment first. When I made the card, I didn't do that. But honestly, if the trees are going to work around my sentiment, I should probably stamp my sentiment first. So, thinking of you, and that way, if it's not straight, I can flip it over. Oh, I'm straight though. Okay, so that's one stamp, the sentiment. Did you guys count that one? Did you count that when you were looking at my card? Oh boy, a couple of you guys have guessed it. Not very many. There are a couple though, for sure, that have guessed the right number. The trees are Mossy Meadow. The outline of the trees, the one I'm going to stamp first, is straight on. So I'm literally just going to ink it up and then go straight onto my cardstock. Yeah, guys, definitely do your sentiment first, because then I can work around it. Before I didn't do that, and it was just, I'm like, ooh, did I leave enough room? So that's the cluster of trees. Then I'm going to come with the standalone tree. I like adding the standalone tree just because you can position him a little higher and then maybe a little lower than your other ones. And you can kind of space them out a little bit more. And then this one, I'm going to come back like there. I don't know. That seems good. So far that's been 3 stamps, right? The outline, the sentiment. That's 3. Next, we need the filler. I guess I don't know what else to call it. Hi, Kay. Thanks for joining me tonight. And this one, I'm still going to use the Mossy Meadow, but I'm going to stamp off first. So ink them up on your grid paper, stamp off. And then you're going to see that it doesn't match perfectly. So I don't know. Can you see like there? It's not perfect. It's definitely an artistic fill. So don't overthink it. It's not like it's perfectly lined up. If the filler stamp goes outside of your outline stamp, I think that's how it was designed to be. I think you really see it with that tall one. See how like down here, the filler stamped outside the branch? You know, it's not supposed to be like all matchy-matchy. Which is perfect because then you can just stamp it. You don't have to overthink it. Are we done with this one? Yes, we're done with that one. Okay, so that's 5 stamps, right? The cluster outline, the cluster in, the single outline, the single in, and the stamp set. That's 5 so far. So if you've guessed 5, it's definitely more than 5. Which I think a bunch of you guessed 5. And, oh, I'm looking for my scrap paper and it's behind my camera. While I have my Mossy Meadow open, I'm going to go ahead and do this tree here. Now, for my Thinking of You card, I chose the narrower, the thinner tree, just because I felt like the wider tree looked more like a Christmas tree. So to me, this is like more of a traditional Christmas tree. Now, is it? Like, no. But when I compared the two, I felt like this one was just a better fit for a general card. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to, does that fit? Yeah, okay. We're going to stamp the outline. Right? Yes. What am I doing? Okay, so that's stamp number, what am I at? 7. And then we're going to stamp the inside. Make sure you stamp off first. When I used to have classes, I haven't had classes in my house in a while, that required 2-step stamping, I literally would go stamp off first, stamp off first, stamp off first. Because no matter how many times I said it, you know, the people would go, oops, I forgot to stamp off. So sometimes I even have to do that with myself. Just kind of almost out loud say, stamp off. Don't forget to stamp off. You got to stamp off. Because if not, you forget. Okay, I'm going to set this aside for a second because I want to finish my trees. Let's see here. This down here adds the most subtle touch to the card, but it really grounds the trees, and I love it. Did you notice that? Did you count that stamp? You might have missed that one because it's very subtle, but it's there. And I stamped that little doodah, I don't know, what else do you call it, in Crumb Cake Stamp Off. And it has 2 ways. Which way? That way. I stamped it like this. I don't think it was supposed to go like that. I don't know. If it is, I did it wrong. I stamped it kind of like curved down. And I stamped off because I really didn't want it to stand out too much. So I stamped off first, and I don't know. I honestly didn't overthink how I was stamping these. I just kind of went for it. Like there maybe? I don't know. I don't know. I really didn't overthink this too much. Okay. That guy up there doesn't have a little thing, but that's okay. So that's stamp, what am I at? 6, 7, 8. You would use curve down too. Okay, good. I wasn't quite sure, but I think that makes sense, right? Because a hill would be like this, right? I don't know. If you've watched my videos before, you know I really know nothing about this stuff. Snow hills curve down. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's see here. While we're working on this part, let's just keep at it. To do our little hill, this little mound, I'm starting off with a piece of Mossy Meadow cardstock, and this measures 1 3/4 by, I don't think I measured that right. I didn't measure right. I cut it too wide. Hold on, let me just trim it down. I'm looking at it going, that's not right. Hold on. Good thing I have my trimmer right there. Okay, it's 1 3/4 by 4 5/8. 1 3/4, 4 5/8. So it's the same width as our Whisper White here. Same width. And honestly, I'm probably going to trim it down maybe a little bit, but it's easier to cut and then trim than to cut it too small and then, you know, be in trouble and whatnot. So just, I'm going to place it depending on where you place your die. Like if I could put it this way, it looks like that. Or if I were to go like that, the hill's there, you know, however you want the hill to look, that's how you should cut it. I'm going to do it off screen here and then show you the outcome. Okay, now tip. Here's my tip. This is what was cut off, by the way. I'm definitely probably going to trim that more. So if you look really closely at the die or the cardstock that's left behind, do you see how it leaves like a line on it? I flipped mine over because if you flip it over, you don't see the line. So honestly, probably no one would ever notice that line, but I did. And then once I saw the line, I couldn't not see the line. You know what I mean? So can you see? I'm trying to get the light to catch it. So I just flipped it over and I used this side. And sometimes you get like a little bump from where it cut. You can just use a bone folder. I use the back of my nail to just smooth that out. Now, looking at this, it's way too big. Oh my goodness, I'm like a 1/2 inch too big. And that's probably what I'm going to trim off. So I do it that way. You know, I run it through my die machine and then I trim it down just because I feel like I have more control over it. But I ended up cutting it another ½ an inch shorter. So that's what I'm left with. You don't like the lines left behind some dies. Yeah, I hear you, Linda. I hear you. You know, flip it over. I even considered putting it through an embossing folder to kind of mask the line that was left behind. So there's kind of ways around it. You know, is it ideal? No, but I feel like, you know, it's worth it. I really like that die. I like that it adds a little hill to my to my scene. So this is going to cover the bottom. Remember, it was the same width as our Whisper White. Okay, where are we at? I have to have my sample next to me or else I lose track of where I am. Let me cut out this tree. I got to cut this one out real quick and then we'll do the moose. So this is the tall die that goes with it. I'm just going to do it off camera here. I'm sorry. I guess I could have done this before, but I got talking and doing other things. So just line it up. Hopefully it works. If not, we'll be doing a redo. I've done plenty of those live before. Okay. Oh, good. We're good. That's what we're left with. So let's set this aside and let's do our moose. I think my moose will fit there. For our moose, we are using the Merry Moose stamp set. It is a stamp set that kind of retired for a little bit, but then it came back in the mini catalog again from last year. I just think it's really rustic and fun here in upstate New York with the Adirondacks. You know, we like our moose. So the outline of the moose, I'm stamping in soft suede ink. I find whenever you're doing two-step stamping, and I did it with the trees, it's easier to line up if you've stamped the darkest image first. It's just easier. The lighter images are a little too light to see. So I just find it easier. Then I did the inside moose. I feel like that, why is it mouse and mice, but it's not moose and mice? Oh boy, it's been a long day. So the inside of the moose, I'm going to stamp off. Crumb Cake ink, stamp off first for a lighter shade. And with him, I found that if you line up his legs, usually the rest of him lines up too. So it can be a lot to try and gauge where to put your stamp, but if you line up your legs, the rest of it will kind of line up as well. Okay, so that's the last of my stamps that I'm using. Did anybody catch the final count? Did anybody follow along? Was anybody counting? Okay, so, and then here's the other thing. When you're using a punch, flip it over to the negative side. Meese. And what I like to do is I line up my moose, or like in this case, moose, or whatever I'm cutting out, and I kind of hold it in my punch. Now, I'm applying enough pressure where the card is not going, as I touch it, is not going to go anywhere, like it's stable, but it also gives me time to look at my stamped image and make sure I have good placement with my punch. Like it's there, it's not going anywhere unless I touch it. In that case, it does move. And then if I'm sure I have good placement, I commit. I don't know. That's how I use my punches, because if not, it can be a little tricky to try, especially with like one like this. You know, it's not a circle. It's got a lot of detail on it. So now it's time to like put everything together. I need this. I need this. I cannot find, I cut another tree, but I don't know what I did with it. Hold on. I'm missing a tree. If I don't find it, I'm going to have to cut. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let me show you my sample, for example, for a little bit. It's very subtle. You probably didn't even notice it. But when I took my tree and I put them like almost white on white, tree on tree, you kind of lose them a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it's a little hard. So what I did, and it's very subtle. You can't even, if I probably didn't tell you, you probably wouldn't have known I did this. But I adhered my tree using dimensionals over the same exact identical tree cut out in Mossy Meadow. And I did the same for the moose. And it just acts as a little shadow behind the tree and the moose, and makes it so it's not white on white, but it's white on Mossy Meadow on white. Does that make sense? I don't know. I felt like you kind of lost him a little bit, but as soon as I put a Mossy Meadow behind it, it just gives a little bit, enough contrast behind it that you don't lose it. And I did the same thing with the moose. I used that same exact punch. I just cut out an outline of the moose from Mossy Meadow cardstock. And I'm going to use dimensionals to adhere one moose over the other moose. Gosh, I should have said, how many times do I say moose in this video? Trees and moose. It's like, that's all I'm saying. I'll have to do that one time, although how in the world would I know who was right? Okay. I have ink on my finger. Hopefully it's dry and it's not smearing. So we're going to take our panel here. First, we're going to mat it on Pool Party. Then we're going to mat it on Mossy Meadow. The Pool Party, everything's 1/8 bigger. So the Pool Party is 3.5 by 4 3/4. Okay. Ah, thanks, Carla. Oh, I got ink on that. Well, not that bad. Not that bad. Maybe I might have to cut out a panel and cover that. Hold on, let's see if I can. I guess I should always have like baby wipes or something nearby to clean if I get color on my fingers. Hold on, I just washed it. Let's see if I can get it off. Nope, it's still there. Okay. So our Mossy Meadow is 1/8 bigger. So we have 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Okay, and when you're using the new Stampin' Seal, it's a little tricky. You kind of have to get used to it. I like to do this. I like to roll it and then move my hand forward and to break the seal. So I roll and then go forward and then pull. And I find that really does the trick. Perfect for an embellishment. It's very subtle. I don't know. Can you see? It's ever so subtle, like green. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if anybody would notice it, but I might fix it later. So whoever wins tonight's card will win my sample. I'll fix this. This one I'll fix. No big deal. Okay, so I added one other detail. And for my sample card, for my Christmas card, excuse me, I used, now I'm afraid to touch anything. I'm afraid it's going to come off. A little gold, I don't think they call it thread, gold twine. Oh dear. Should we look? Let me tell you what it's part of, because it's not a standalone. It's part of the Wonder of the Season ribbon combo pack. And let's see if it tells me what they call it. Oh, cord. Gold cord. That makes sense because it's very thick. But for our Thinking of You card tonight, I'm just using linen thread. I love this stuff. I use it way too often. I use it all the time. I love it. You know why? Because it's easy to make bows with. It's easy to make bows with. It's like really user-friendly. And I love how it comes out like all curly. Maybe because I'm curly too, I can appreciate a good curl. Okay, so what I did, and I didn't find like I needed to do this way so much with this card with the thread, but with the cord, I definitely had to do it this way because it was just too challenging. So I went ahead and made my knot in the air and started to tie it pretty tight. And then as I got, do I have enough thread on that side? And as I got pretty close to the end, that's when I tucked it in. Oops. Like that, sort of. Come on, get down there. There we go. And then I tied my bow. Even with the cord, it was a little challenging once it was on the tree to tie the cord. So I actually ended up tying it off the tree and then getting it on. The thread stays pretty well, but again, the cord, I added a little bit of glue inside my tree and then on the top of my tree. And then I set it aside like I taught you before with a block on it to just until it's set. Because, I don't know, maybe because it's so thick, it wanted to pop off. It didn't want to stay. And so you definitely needed to glue that down, or I needed to glue that down. And I just put a little bit of glue on the tree, in the tree, and then put a block on it and set it aside. Okay, so we're gonna trim. I really like long tails. So if you, I know, it's like there's two camps in the world. There's like team long ribbon tails, and there's team small ribbon tails. I'm a long ribbon tail. Oh, let me get this on our, I just realized I haven't put this on our card front. So I'm going to leave them nice and long. But before I do, my goodness, we got to get this on the card front. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I almost forgot to do that. So that just gets it here to the card front. Make sure right side is up and you don't do it upside down. So tree goes on first. Yeah. Turn it around. I don't know. There. There's no, you know, wherever you want to put them works. And then our mousse, because the dimensionals aren't all the way across the mousse, there's still like this little slot here. I can kind of open up the two pieces of cardstock. So I'm going to kind of slide him a little bit overlapping the tree. A little bit of glue. That's the one thing about the tails though, is that they can get in the way when you're trying to glue things down. How about there? Okay, and there we go, all done. Ta-da! That's tonight's card. If you weren't keeping track, I used 10 stamps in total. I used these 2 for the mousse, and all the other ones were from the In the Pines. There were so many just because it's a lot of 2-step stamping. So In the Pines bundle, you're gonna want it. It's very, very versatile. I think you can really do a lot. You can do Just Thinking of You. You could do masculine cards, masculine birthday cards. Oh, they're such a challenge sometimes. So lots of possibilities. Make sure you put this in your wish list. Keep in mind that tomorrow starts the Designer Series paper sale. All the details are on my blog. Make sure your orders get to $50 in October and you include 1 Designer Series paper. And I'm going to throw in a pack of cardstock as well as your $9 gift. So lots of good things happening in October. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. I'd love to help in any way possible. And as soon as I'm done with here, if you haven't left a comment yet, please do so, because I'm going to pick, like I normally do. This is outside of the number guessing, but just write a comment before I close down here, and as soon as I'm done here, I'll pick a winner for someone to receive tonight's card. Thanks everyone so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.